Yeah, oh, good. Were you smiling there, Becca? Good.
Yeah,
I hope so. Yeah,
I
yeah. I,
was.
I couldn't see, and then I was thinking, oh my God, I hope I haven't upset anyone.
I mean, well done in the first 3 minutes.
Right, we're good to go, I think. Um, is the recording going? Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
All right, Charlie, do me a favor, build the container, please. Oh, there's Craig. Good. All right. Okay, go for it. I just got to plug my phone in again. My computer. Go for it,
Hi
Charlie.
everyone, so I've been thrown in the deep end, asked to build the container. Let's start to check in. Who wants to check in first? Let's start with Craig. Craig wants to go first. Craig from Epic Restart. Let's check in.
Do you know what it is? I'm feeling fearless this week, mate. Fearless.
Great.
So that's how I feel this week. Do you want me to pass it on or
Yeah, if you can tag someone, Craig.
I'll go with Gary.
Thanks, Craig. Yeah, I'm checking in. A little bit tired, a little bit drained, a little bit unwell, but always grateful to be here and to see everyone as always. It's still positive within all that. And I will tag.
Where are you from, Gary? Just if you could tell us where you're from.
I'm from Dublin in Ireland, and I am a recovery coach in St. Calba, which is an addiction service in Dublin. And
Cool.
I'll go there and I'll tag Colin H.
Thank you, mate. Yeah, I'm in a good place. I've just started a new job, so it's I'm just getting used to new roles and similar to what I was doing, but slightly different and in the community, which is nice. It's exciting.
Are you still with Recovery Connections?
Yeah, yeah. But I've come
Oh,
from the rehab to the community side of things now, and PD ports as well once that gets. But anyway, yeah, in a good place, and I'll tag Kenny, please.
Thanks, Cole. I'm Kenny. I work for Recovery Connections as well. I've had a really good morning this morning, so I'm doing a level 3 course, and we're getting to the end. I can see the end, so I've done a final sort of like assignments this morning. So I'm working towards the presentation, which is going to be happening the end of next month. So I've been on it from October 2023. So I'm really buzzing with the work that I've put in it, and I can see I'm nearly at the end of it. So yeah, I'm really happy. I'll tag our other Colin.
Cheers, Skinny. Yeah, I'm Colin. Yeah, I'm feeling fine. I'm settling and more into my role in the community and coffee collection as Middlesbrough. Yeah, been for me self-care, doing a bit of self-care today, been for a walk this morning and do me NA stuff as well. Yeah, so everything's going okay. Thank you. And I will tag Paulo.
Got me unmuted. There we go. Hi, good day, everybody. I am so stoked to be here. So grateful, so thankful to be here. Thank you so much, David. Yeah, I'm from South Africa, Johannesburg. On this journey, I think I missed the first session, so looking forward to catching up. Really looking forward to what this container has to offer. Really excited about it. And if my understanding is correct, it's something I hold quite dear to my heart. And really looking forward to spending some time with you guys, getting to know you guys and girls, and having a wonderful time on this journey. And yeah, again, really stoked to be here and really thankful. And I'll go across to Tom.
Hi, I'm Tom from Recovery Connections in Stockton, and I'm checking. I'm feeling really positive this week. I think last week I was feeling a bit drained, and it's been a bit chaotic, but this week's been a lot more smooth sailing, I'd say. So I'm glad I've popped on this afternoon, and I'm gonna tag Steph.
Thank you, Tom. Well, I feel amazing. I feel absolutely fantastic. For the first time in my working period for quite some time. Reason being is last night, Becca and I had our first participation group meeting, which was a selection of 9 affected others of gambling harm. And we had to talk about some pretty traumatic, ugly stuff, really. And it went so well. Such a wonderful group of people, and we worked through it. And yeah, I feel absolutely amazing. I'm going to turn that over to. I'm going to ask you, David. Am I allowed to ask you?
Yeah, I think that's me now. Has everyone been?
I haven't
No,
been. I think I'm
Becca.
the last one.
Oh, there you
Oh,
go, Becca.
sorry, Becca.
No, don't worry.
Save the best for last, love.
All right, I'll go second to last then. Yeah, hi, I'm Becca. So I will probably channel a lot of Steph's energy because I feel energized. Yesterday we had such a great group, a really strong group as well, kind of talking about their kind of lived experiences affected others. And I think I've just taken on really all of that kind of enthusiasm, excitement for the next few months to come as well. So yeah, I feel very energized and happy to be here. And I'll pass on to David. There we go.
Thank you. All right, so I'm just going to draw a quick whiteboard. So, and just a timeline of the training. Can everyone see the whiteboard?
Yeah.
Okay, so we start off our journey. Yeah, and then it's peer recovery specialist, which is 20 hours. Then we have a certified professional recovery coach, and that's 40 hours. And then we do systemic wellness practitioner, and that's 20 hours. Now, all you people that are working in a LERO or in a recovery organization, you're here doing the 20 hours. Yeah, so this is a systemic wellness practitioner training where you will practice what you've learned in this area for the next 10 weeks. Yeah. And whether you've done 20 or 40 hours there, it doesn't matter because you're working in this environment on a daily basis, you will meet those requirements. What you do need to do is go through the material, and on the platform, on the Mauni app platform, there are some journeys there that will take you through that stuff. Okay. So that's how we're going. So for example, Gary, how many of these classes have you attended? This must be about 6. You're muted, mate. My lip reading's good, but in your Irish accent, I struggle, mate.
I speak many languages, but Dublin is not one of them, huh? I
Dublin,
think I've done 6 or 7, Dave. I was just thinking that this morning.
yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. And what we've done is we've structured the training in a way that it adjusts to the environment where the people are from. Yep. So Stefan, Becca, and Craig a couple of weeks ago did the 3-day intensive in 2 days. Yeah, and so they're going to catch up their hours here as well to kind of bring people in integrity. Yeah, but what I love about Steph and Beck, what they're bringing, Becca here, what they're bringing today, is the affected others side of it. And I think that's a really nice place to start today's container, is how do we coach other people that aren't necessarily the primary person? Is my language okay? Primary person. You have the affected others. So, Stefan Becker, are you all right to talk about that for a bit?
Yeah, we'd love to. Well, I would. Would you? Are you okay,
Yeah,
Becca? Yeah.
yeah, fine. I keep
Yeah.
hearing a little bit of a doorbell in
Yeah,
the.
that's Katie coming in.
Oh, okay.
Hello, Katie. Do you want to check in, love?
Yes, hello. Sorry I'm late. I'm checking in feeling quite tired, quite accomplished. I've just done my official first recovery coaching session. As you all know, I'm not great at boundaries, which is why I'm late. So that's definitely something I need to work on. But other than that, I'm feeling quite exhilarated. Yes, exhilarated is the word.
Great. Okay, so Katie's from Reach Out and Recover down in Kent. And Katie, just to update you, we've got 3 people from Epic Restart that just recently did the 3-day intensive in 2 days. They did it very fast. Spoke very fast during the content, and they've just joined now for the systemic wellness, and we're going to focus the container today on affected others, so family members and people, and it ties into the systemic model. You've got the person that's got substance use disorder, you've got the workplace, and then you've got the family members. So let's go with Stefan Becker.
So what exactly would you like us to talk about? I don't know, Steph, if you had anything in mind, but all.
Great coaching question. What would you like us to talk about? All right, so let me answer that. It's coming up to the death of my father. Yep, on Sunday it's going to be 3 years, and he basically drank himself to death at the end. And as a family member, I sat with his alcoholism for years. I get a bit tearful when I just touch that. I thought I was doing fine. And his drinking really impacted us as family members. And his recovery really impacted us as family members. So when he was drinking, it was like, oh my God, when's he going to stop? Is he dead? And then when he did stop, it was, oh my God, when's he going to start again? Has he started again? And I lost all sense of agency of who I was. Yeah. And about 5, 8 years ago, I made a conscious effort to stop being the rescuer in the family. And I just wanted to be the angry boy, that wanted his father to get sober and to take on that role. And then I was able to get to a place of compassion when he went out on his last bender. So, and I think the family members get neglected a lot in this chaos. And it often feels to me as if when the person's out there using, they get all the attention, then they go into rehab or whatever, and then they still get more attention. And the family members are left kind of bewildered with a whole lot of unprocessed stuff. So that's what's driving it for me. So I hope my excitement for that isn't overwhelming for you and Steph, but I'm really excited that we can start to expand into supporting family members in that.
Do you want me to go first, Becca, or
I mean,
yeah?
I was just I wanted to say it was just that it's interesting that David mentioned like different roles that you take. So you were mentioning about, becoming the rescuer and then wanting to become that kind of angry boy. And I think, like, as an affected other myself, I find that I have gone into very different roles throughout that journey. The different emotions that come out depends on, who do I want to be at this time? And I very much can resonate with being that rescuer, where you're very much focusing on that person 100% of the time. You kind of, that emotional theft is very much there, where you're not thinking about yourself at all. And then there's that transition period that you go through, can take weeks, months, years, to get to a point where you start to think, well, actually, what about me? And then there might be that kind of selfishness where you're like, it's all about me, I'm taking control, I'm going to be strong. And it's becoming that, almost that navigating through that balance of kind of new relationships coming into your life. So I very much resonate with what you've said, David. Yeah, just wanted to
I
say
love
Thanks.
the way.
Sorry.
Well, no, it's fine. So I loved the way that you shared a little bit of your experience to build rapport with me, Steph. And then I loved that metaphor, emotional thief. Oh, that really, yeah. So, Steph, I just want to jump in at times just to
No, that's
capture
great.
learnings.
Yeah.
Go for it, Steph. Over to you.
I want to first off say that I'm so sorry for your loss, and anniversaries are never great when we're grieving. And despite, I think, the childhood that you had, the difficulties, I suspect you came to a place where there was forgiveness. And I think as an affected other, when we come to a place of forgiveness, we come to a place of acceptance. And I think that's probably where you got to with your father. And I think it is holding on to that forgiveness and that acceptance, because you couldn't be accountable for your father. And as an affected other, we often we become the mopper-uppers. And interestingly enough, I think particularly for siblings, the role reversal does happen. So often, the sibling becomes the parent, which is not what we're born into the world to really want to do, is it? But unfortunately, the role reversals do happen, and I think that's what what you are both talking about. Is we become the carer, we become the mopper-upper, and that's why I always say, as an affected other, we are just as much a victim of addiction as what the addict is, but we're the forgotten victims. And I think, David, in your situation, that's probably also what hurt. You had that feeling of isolation, that feeling of being forgotten in all of that. And from that, we become resentful and angry. Well, hold on a moment. What about me? What am I taking on board? And I think when you reach the point, and I think that's what's so great about what you've come through, is you reach that point of acceptance and forgiveness to a certain level, which allowed you then to be able to move forward in some form of a relationship with your father. How does that feel? Does that feel sort of how it did feel?
So I've got a lot of feelings there, and I can place them all over the space. So I just want to bring it back to what we're doing here. So we're learning about coaching and in the work context, yeah? So what I would like to do, and this is a learning environment, yeah? So what I would like you to do is to just, if you're okay to do this, is just to feed back some of what you said, but just use I statements. Yeah. So what I've found, being somebody that's been affected, is that so you make it about your experience. So let's start there.
Okay, so from my experience, having worked with a lot of siblings that have been in your situation, we noticed that there was resentment because a lot of the siblings felt that they were having to take on a parental role. And there was obviously neglect. They felt neglected, and they felt overwhelmed with that pressure of having to take on a parental role. And from that, having worked with them, we had to work through quite a bit of anger and resentment. And
So
sadly,
take out the we
sorry.
part. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So bring yourself into it. Yeah. So what I found when I was working with families, that I have learned, or I have experienced, that what I have felt isn't uncommon.
It isn't uncommon. And also what I have also learned, particular in sisters, in female siblings, particularly if there has been alcoholism at a young age, that when the alcoholic has gone through recovery, the parental roles shifts. So all of a sudden, the parent is saying, no, actually, you've got to be home by midnight. And it's like, hold on a moment, I'm the parent. I've been parenting. And then that becomes quite difficult again in the relationships, that shift back. And so I have worked with quite a lot of the sisters that experience that also. Like, how dare my parent now start lecturing me about my life and behaving like a parent, where I'm not being the parent, they're the child and I'm the parent. So yeah, it's an interesting dynamic.
Right. So let's go with that dynamic now. Who would like to take this over? So you're working with someone. Yep. They're moving down the road. Yep. And it's like, fucking hell, my mum's fucking telling me what to do now, and I've had to mop her up off the floor for the past 10 years, and now she's how would you handle that? It's open to the container.
Have I upset you all?
Just breathe, Steph.
No,
It's
no.
fine.
Remember, I'm having a fantastic feeling.
You just relax, love. It's absolutely fine. But this is it's a challenge out there.
Could you ask a question like, how would you want that relationship to go about, or how would you want that
What's
dynamic?
the answer to the question, Becca?
This question?
Yeah. You have the answer already.
I guess you would have wanted, in hindsight from the start, for your parent to be a parent, but that's not the case at the moment. We are in this situation where.
So what's the answer to the question?
Respectful. I would want the relationship to be respectful.
Okay. So I think you said something. Could you ask? And
I'm new to this.
and yeah, no, it's relax, and if we're in the deep end too much, just tell me to stop. So, in my opinion, of course you can ask. Of course you can ask a question.
Thank you.
Yep. It's not for me to give you permission of whether you can ask a question. Hi, I'm here to coach you. Yep. How would you like the relationship to look going forward? I think that's a perfectly wonderful forward-focused question. Well,
I would be asking the group then.
Well, let's ask the group. Yeah. What does the group think about that?
What do you think? How would you want the relationship to go? What could it look like?
For me, personally, I felt quite triggered by this conversation. Actually, I'm sitting here and my stomach's in fucking knots, and I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk. And so I'm completely triggered by it. We were abandoned. Me and my brothers and sisters were all abandoned at the age of 13, and my dad had pissed off to Aberdeen about 6 months earlier, and my mum had then just had enough, and she just left us. And my both of them were alcoholics. And then I went into a children's home for the next 6 years. I never spoke to my mum for the 15 years afterwards. Haven't spoke to my dad for 20 years, but I'll get back to that. And I used to look on at other families, and I used to wear this mask, and I used to say, how pretty is that to have a mum and dad? And I would be hurting and lonely so much inside that I just wanted that. I just wanted someone to care man for us. I just wanted to be cared and loved. So I kind of brung myself up for most of my life. Um, but but that really, really, I was really angry inside. If I go back now and I think I was more angry than lonely, but I didn't know how to show it because I was such a young lad. I was only 13. Um, and I didn't realise how much that had an effect in my life until I came into recovery, man, a couple of years ago. It had a tremendous effect on me. It really, really, did. And so much so that I really despised my mum and my dad. I really, really did. And I didn't know where to place that anger. And it was by going through recovery. And what I actually did is I looked at my mum and dad as not my mum and dad. I looked at them as young people. I I looked at them as young adults. I think they were 21 and 22. And in my life, I've probably made bigger mistakes than those two. So basically, what I had to do is I had to look at them as human beings and not my mum and dad. And that was where I had to start to look at them as individuals. And when I done that, I started to get to know my mum. I've only started to get to know my mum actually over the last year, since I was 13. So it's been like 35 years that I've really started to get to know her. And when I started to speak to her, not as my mum, I started to ask her about what she was like as a child and a kid and all this stuff. Then she opened up to me. She really massively opened up to me because I got the feeling that she didn't really know how to be a mum at that time because she had been through like real stuff as well I had. And then she started to tell me that she'd been in AA as a young woman and that she'd really struggled having 5 kids and all this stuff. And when I got to know that side of her, then my compassion and that real honesty and then I got more intrigued about her and it kind of released all this resentments and angers and all this stuff. So that was in my mum, and now I go over every Tuesday and I see my mum every Tuesday. My mum's the worst cook in the world, but I will you go over and I've got a beautiful relationship man with her, even though man, she's the worst cook in the world. But my dad's been another, case. Um, so I hadn't spoken to him for over 20 years, man, either. And I put a note beside my bed before recovery, and I asked myself, and the question was, should I contact him? Because I know how to contact him. And that note lay beside my bed for about nearly 6 months to a year, and the answer wouldn't come. And I ended up making up one morning man, and throwing the note in the blooming bin. And then what happened when this year, my dad had a heart attack, and he wanted to get in touch man with us. And so when I found out he wanted me to get in touch with him, it took me 5 days to respond actually because I didn't know how to respond. And I spoke to him. And it was like we had been apart for 20 years. The conversation just flowed. Um, but with my dad, it's a bit different. It's a bit different. My dad was really violent when we were younger, so that's why I still feel a bit scared and a bit apprehensive, even though I've got nothing to be scared about. I still feel a bit scared and apprehensive to go and see him, but that's just my feelings and emotions. So I felt really triggered, man, about this conversation. And going back to my mum, it's like the more that I got to know her as a person, the more that us two have developed a relationship. And I think that was all down to me getting honest with myself, honest and honest and willingness. I think that was the two kind of things I had. So thanks, guys. But I'm proper triggered.
Thank you, Charlie. So I'm just going to jump in here. So this is a perfect example of how our own story can trigger us in our professional capacity. Yep. So Charlie's come here to learn about working in a lived experience organization using coaching. We're trying to help family members, affected others, and then the story triggered that abandoned kid in him. Yep. And it's like, oh fuck, that's hard. So, Charlie, first of all, thank you so much for bringing the story. I just want to put some respect around it, and that we're here to learn about recovery coaching and working in these organizations. Yep, this isn't therapy. However, this classroom might be therapeutic, because I imagine you feel a sense of relief now, Charlie, getting that off your chest, maybe.
It was just good to talk it out.
Yeah, okay, great. Okay. So, Becca, wonderful question that really got the fire started, because you can see we got 3 hands up. So let's go to Craig, then we'll go to Steph, and then we'll go to Gary. Go, Craig.
Mine's just going to be short and sweet. It's more or less the same as Charlie, if I'm honest. I've been on both sides, been the affected of and the addict. So I did feel a bit triggered myself, if I'm honest. And I think working in this space has, I wouldn't say triggered us even more, but it's made us certainly aware of all the things that I guess led us to here. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say really on that.
So, Craig, I just want to check in terms of when we get triggered in this environment and this role. Yeah, we're trying to develop our resilience so we can hear the stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's fuck, and we don't want to develop so much resilience that we just go, oh fuck, another one that's fucking, oh yeah, well we're all fucked up and
yeah.
But just to stay compassionate around it. Yep. So I really appreciate just you owning that. It's like, oh fuck, I've been on both sides. Yeah, great stuff. Thank you, Steph.
Oh, Charlie, thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, it was really heartwarming and sad, but at the same time, it showed me how resilient you are. And for everyone on here, really, I just want me and Becca coming into this space. We're like the hooded ghosts, the dark hooded ghosts encroaching on you all, affected others. I tend to, I don't know about you, Becca, but I tend to have that effect on those. But during recovery journey, we're all on a recovery journey, and I think that we are all victims of addiction, and we've all coped with it our own way, and it can be it is a life-changing journey that we all go on, but often me and Becca will represent some of those painful times, but it's also about understanding, I guess, the journey that we've also been on, and it won't be a lot different from what you guys have been on. I really wanted to sort of also say that sometimes I think when we're all on this journey of recovery from addiction, I found listening to you, Charlie, the 2 words that you sort of came up with, which I liked, was understanding and acceptance. So like David, when you were telling your story, isn't it? It is about understanding someone's behaviour, and as a child, that I should imagine that's difficult to do, but I think having lived experience myself and a very narcissistic mother, it was having that understanding of where that almost abuse, isn't it, abuser has come from. And that's how I dealt with it. And a lot of my clients deal with when you get to that point of understanding and acceptance. And it sounded like you got like that with your mother, which is quite a healthy place to be in, coming from such an unhealthy place. So thank you so much for sharing that. Is that all right, Dave?
Yeah, I think it's right. Charlie, you good?
I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm loving
good.
Epi.
All right. Let's hear from Gary.
Yeah, thanks, Charlie. Thanks for sharing. That was, it'll be similar to you, Charlie. You have it kind of triggered me from my own childhood, my own experience. Yeah, but it's good to be able to tap into that. Well, just going back to the original question, Becca, it was how would you like to see that relationship? Sorry.
Yeah.
So here in Dublin, I've actually I let the lady remain anonymous, because it's her story. But she is a recovery coach, like us, and she's actually going through this at the minute. Whereas her daughter, like that, mopped up after her for years. Then the mother herself was in addiction. And then the daughter came into addiction. And for years, they've been on this back and forward thing with, I'm looking after you now, I'm looking after you. And but at the minute, her daughter has relapsed, and she's just full on back in mother role. She recovery coaching is out the window. So I was kind of thinking how I feel a little bit helpless at the minute, that I just can't really. I don't know what to say to her. And I was listening to you and your question. How would I like to see that relationship? And I thought to myself, it's not about how I want to see it. It's about how they see the relationship. So I was thinking, kind of walking down in my head and listening to people. It's kind of like the recovery coach. And it's not about how I see someone recover. It's how they see it. And it's the same as I would apply that to them and their relationship. It's not about how I think they should be. You're the mother, you're the child. This is how it's supposed to be. It's about, after everything they've been through, how do they now see it, and how do they best get the best solution out? And maybe that's the point of sitting down with both of them together, or one individual. I don't know. Yeah, it was very helpful. I really enjoyed listening to everyone there, when it gave me a great help where I'm at the minute.
And Gary, what I want to just say is that part of my journey is when my dad was going out there again, I was not to coach anymore. Like, that was my pathology playing out. I needed to be the boy. So when you said whoever it was has, the coaching's gone out the window, they're being a mum, that's who they should be. That's what the role needs to be. Yeah. And the burden of being a mother, watching your child struggling. Yep.
Yeah.
Right, Katie.
Yeah, I just wanted to sort of speak about how powerful those coaching conversations are, because actually I wasn't triggered by it, but it gave me a realization, a personal realization, that I wasn't affected other growing up, because my dad was a gambling addict, but I was very shielded from that, and I didn't probably even know really until later on the impact that had. So I just wanted to bring that, actually during those coaching conversations, you can have those, how powerful they are. You can have those own realizations yourself. And I guess not share your experience, but not to bring that, because like Gary just said, it's not about me. It's not about me. Okay, I've had this realization and I can perhaps relate, but it's not about me. It's about, and it's remembering that, because I can get caught in that. Oh shit, that's triggered me. I need to now share all my shit with you because that'll make me feel better. And I need to remember that's not what this is about, So yeah, I just wanted to share that.
Great stuff, Katie. Great stuff. So the whole idea of recovery coaching and professionalizing our traumatic past is to know when our story is being shared in a way that's beneficial for the client and when not to. Yep, and getting that kind of balance right between it. Yeah. Thanks, Katie. Very wise. Oh, it's so nice having the gamblers here. It's like it's really spiced up the container. Yeah. Cool.
Having the gamblers.
Go, Becca.
Yeah, just what Katie said. I was going to talk about kind of Gary and Charlie, but just to kind of hit on that, where this telling your story, I found that incredibly powerful, and it's taken me a couple of years to share little snippets of my story in situations where I found it actually it's useful for the person I'm talking to, and it's understanding when, as you say, when you're triggered, and I definitely have been triggered and will further on down the line, but it's knowing when I'm triggered and thinking, now, am I telling my story for my own benefit, for me, or is it actually, what is actually benefiting that person? And that's that kind of a journey and struggle that I think we through our learning we'll get to that place. So thank you. Also with Charlie as well, thank you so much for sharing that. And that word that you used was compassion. And when you do start to understand someone else's story, you build that compassion, that respect. And it's incredible to know that you now have a really great bond with your mum that maybe before, because that understanding wasn't there, or you were working on yourself at that time, it wasn't right then, but it is now. So yeah, really, really powerful story. Thank you. And yeah, Gary, just to reference you, because when you were talking about the mum and the child, the mum and the daughter, thinking about that relationship, actually that mother-child, that kind of normal societal relationship that we expect, actually maybe that's broken. Maybe that dynamic is going to be different moving forward, and that's okay. Maybe not to be a mum, maybe not to be the daughter or the rescuer each time, but maybe it is sitting them down and talking about, well, moving forward now, how is that relationship going to change? Maybe it's a different one to the mother, the daughter. So yeah, it's got me thinking about that dynamic now, and how, just to say that my mum's getting older, my mum's nearly 80, and I find that she's looked after me and supported me throughout my life. And I can see that slow transition where I'm starting to now look after her. And it's trying to kind of, navigate through that. How is this relationship going to be now? So, yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Beck.
Which is also part of a kind of a normal process. The parents should be looking after the young, and the young should be looking after the old. Yeah, that's how it. And then with a culture of addiction, you've got the young looking after the parents, and having their childhood robbed. Yeah, and then you get used to living like that, and it's very hard to. Craig, there we go. Where's Craig gone? Oh, there we go.
I was on mute. I was on mute there. I just want to touch up on there what Katie's just said, because it's more like more like of a realization of like how well I personally think I've done this week, and it's not like a big-headed way of saying that. But like obviously doing your training really opened my eyes to a lot of things, and I think in the past, like even before I came into this role, it was sort of like I felt like I was being a mentor. Like I live by the coast, and a lot of the time that our lads would come into the meetings, they would say, "Oh, like what's worked for you?" And I would say, "Well, I've done running, I've done this. I think you should do that." Blah blah, and that would basically force them down that road. And I think as much as like I had my first client session on Monday, and as much as like the urge was to say, "This is what I do, this is what I did," there was one instance where she said that she struggled with isolation, and rather than me saying, "This is what I do when I struggle," I threw the question back and said, "What do you do when you feel isolated?" And immediately I was like, that just change in pattern and language just opened up like a massive conversation. and it led to like me recommending her some books that I read because she loves reading, and it was just like the difference in question. Because if I'd said you need to do this, 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 it would have just ended it there. And just the difference in the language that I've been using recently, and even I've done my first group coaching session today for like 10 people, and I was really nervous, but like I think knowing what questions to ask at the right time and when to ask them is going to be massive for me in my job. So I just wanted to say thank you, Katie, for bringing that up, because it reminds us that I felt so critical of myself after Monday, thinking I could have done better, should have said this, should have said that. And then I got a feedback email to say like I did amazing, and I was just like, fuck. I'm actually doing alright here. But like I just wanted to say that. I don't know why, but I just felt the need to.
Cool. Sophie, did you join us? Are you there? Sophie? Did Sophie check in? I can't remember. Okay. All right, so where should we go? I just wanted to quickly draw something, if I may. Oh. So, can you all see the screen?
Yeah.
Right. So we've got a culture of learning, a culture of addiction, and a culture of recovery. Yeah, you all remember this drawing? Okay, so here we are working in the family system of recovery. Yeah, you remember that diagram?
Yeah.
Yeah. And as an organization, you're going into a culture of addiction. So you're working with people that are in a culture of addiction. And they will move into a culture of recovery. And when the family members moved into a culture of recovery, the fuck, I'm just trying to be politically correct, but fuck it. When the addict moves into a culture of recovery, yeah, the family members get left behind. Yeah. So they get all the attention here during the chaos, and they get all the attention during recovery, and the family often get neglected. And it's our job to try and bring the family members over into a culture of recovery as well. Does that make sense? So that might be the boss. I know he's not a family member, but it gives you the idea. Or I'm just going to get very stereotypical and go wife. Yeah. So you might need to coach the wife here, or the workplace environment, and there's the person with substance use disorder or gambling harm recovery, whatever the politically correct words are. And what we're working on today is how somebody's story is impacting us as individuals. So Charlie was listening to this story and his own childhood stuff got triggered. It's a proper higher grade class today, huh?
So what happens when you bring the gamblers in?
Yeah. No, they've definitely upped the game here. We're all on our best behavior. Except for when Craig was here last week. Craig was like, oh, fuck yeah. Well. Steph, go for it, love.
Yes, I mean, as you know, David, I've done a huge amount of work around that.
Oh,
Steph's been cut off for me. Have I lost everyone?
She's gone. She's gone.
Yeah.
Working with.
She's gone.
If you can hear us, Steph, we've lost you.
All right. So let's Colin H.
Hello.
What's your takeaway so far from the container? We'll
Yeah,
go
really.
Colin H and then we'll go Colin 120724.
Yeah, really, really powerful listening to what everyone had to say. You know, a lot of like really vulnerable stuff. And I've been like where a lot of people's I think Craig's I've been both where I've been on my own journey over the years and realised the impact I had on my family who couldn't really help me and they didn't like ask for me to be how I was and then blame them for it all. I kind of sat with a sponsor and I remember the shock of him saying, "Cole, you weren't a victim in all this, mate." I was like, "What? It's my fault." And honestly, I played the victim to all these circumstances that did, if I'm honest as well, make things really difficult. But I swam around in the self-pity and the not taking accountability and responsibility. And it took years to kind of understand like what Charlie was talking about, the reason and why things were like they were. And in a lot of ways, my parents actually probably done the best under the circumstances because I'd look for lots of other reasons that would then allow me, I felt at the time, to give the responsibility away to someone else that left me in this whole thing. And then I got clean, stayed clean, and my ex-girlfriend, who I've got the two oldest children to, was still in the midst of all of that. So then I tried to do what David was speaking about of, right, I've got to try and rescue, I've got to focus all my energy because it's affecting me, the kids, that environment, because I'd come out of it I was met with like a lot of resistance early on because she would say, "It's all right for you. You've just gone, you've done it." So it was really difficult. And I went on like a path of, yeah, it's like a path of acceptance that takes its own time, that like looking and the compassion and the forgiveness almost of understanding that for myself personally, I was the only one who could like ultimately decide at the very end that this is the end, we've got to do something now. Now, when I was trying to say that, Lisa would know that like it was really serious, but it wouldn't get her to commit to no action consistently. So in the end, I had to kind of probably like accept it, probably like be boundary to a certain level and not try and rescue her or persecute her, just stand back and hold my hand out if she ever wanted to take it. And it becomes like it's got better over the years. I kind of don't let it, because that would just be the topic of Lisa, you need to change. And like that's what I'd be saying to her all the time. And like I'd say quickly learn. It wasn't quickly, it was about 18 months. I learned that this is not working. So then I just tried other things, but ultimately she's still very, very much the same, on and off, to the point where I just try and be compassionate and understanding and respectful of her choice in all of that. But yeah, it's a really, I heard someone else on here share the word like the helplessness around it. And then I would then turn that back on myself and understand what my sister and my brother and my mum had to see with me and like think, yeah, wow. Yeah. And that's because I remember sharing that to my sister at the time, and I didn't see her very often, and I would go, "Oh, you don't help me, you're like fair weather family." And I remember looking as if to say, "How dare you?" And now looking back, they've done everything and more, but I was just bouncing it away. It was me that was unwilling, not them. They couldn't do anything. So then with Lisa, the reversal of them roles, and I get what others have shared of the anger and of like, it shouldn't be this way, or because, and I know there's different circumstances with the relationship, whoever that was. but like I was the affected other of like I went straight into that same probably anger and resentment through the helplessness of like, yeah, but a really sensitive one, difficult.
And so you're becoming aware of how this personal stuff might impact your professional role. Great stuff. All right, so Colin, we're not going to go for you just yet because Steph's back. So it just feels like, Steph, we lost you. Looks like you've gone back into your house. But don't worry, we're always here. You left us. I'm not taking it personally. I've got abandonment issues and you've triggered them, but it's okay.
I'm so sorry, but I'm so pleased I got to hear the majority of your story, Colin. And it seems like it was going on from what I was saying. You know, you're okay, Jack. You're getting all that attention. You're rebuilding your life. And I'm still stuck back here. And, you know, I'm sorting out the children, the kids, the family, all the debt, still finding out about all the lies, dealing with trust issues. Not quite sure if I really want to be in this situation.
How's Steph's tone? What emotion do you think Steph is talking with? I think she's pissed off.
Yeah, and then David's come along and said, Steph, why don't you come into therapy? Why don't you go and get some help? So me as a wife or a partner think, I haven't got the problem. He's got the problem. I'm dealing with all this, and now you're telling me that I've got to go and make changes and I've got to commit to therapy. Yeah. And that's that cycle that I see so regularly going on. Yeah.
Steph, I just want to pause you for a second. I much prefer this Steph that's showing up now. That is really nice. Oh, fucking hell. It feels honest, it feels authentic, it feels
I'm talking as an effect, that's an affected others analogy.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, she's on fire. Hey, Beck.
So now you're saying, and also Colin, in your situation, yeah, could there be, I'll put this to you and David, all of you, could there be, you've moved on in your new life, you're doing this, you've gone off, you've moved on, you're doing all this. I haven't got control on you anymore. I like the old Colin because I actually feel quite empowered. I can look down on you. I've got control. I know where you are. I know you're safely gambling away in the bedroom, and I'm not sure if I want you to go off to Epic Restart Foundation and rebuild this lovely life. Yeah, and that's where I think that becomes difficult, doesn't it? So I definitely don't want to go into treatment and listen to one of your counsellors that's rebuilding you and turning you into this fabulous new Colin. I quite like where we were. Now, look at everyone's looking differently.
So take a pause, Steph. Yep. I just really appreciate who showed up now. How does the rest of the container? How did you experience Steph? Now, are you okay for some feedback, Steph?
Yeah, definitely.
Sure. All right, let's just a quick taste in the couple of words from the container. How did you experience Steph now?
Real.
Authentic and passionate.
Yeah, good. What else? Real, authentic. Becca?
It felt like there was an inner almost anger from your own experience coming through as well.
Yeah, her story was coming through, the rawness of it. It's like, okay, fuck, this chick's been through some shit. Okay, I trust this person. Yeah, they've been through the fucking chaos.
Yeah, I was picking up straight away on the hand signaling, the body language of, there's a bit of passion in this. Yeah,
lovely.
A lot of stuff that you mentioned, Steph, was like stuff that we even like spoke about, as in it's all right for you. You've moved on. It's like she was comfortable, I think, as well with me how I was, and when I come back, it was that dynamic change in the relationship of definitely, yeah.
So from a coaching perspective, Steph, we're really looking for that authentic self there.
I use that a lot.
Yeah, that's
I use that a lot.
using that. Yeah.
So
Drop the other shit. Bring this one. Love it.
When I'm doing my coaching sessions, actually I shared with you all last night. So I had a top businesswoman. She's got a brilliant job, by the way. Son has relapses, but he's a high risk gambler, and so she's been quite severely harmed. So in some situations we name the addiction. So I do a lot of detachment work, and we name it, and you can all work it out. She's called the addiction that was in her family Mr. FC. Yeah, you'd like you know that for short. So it's Mr. her addiction, and it is about that, how you change the manner in how you're speaking, isn't it? How you can calm things down by like what you're just all
I much
talking about.
prefer the other way you were talking, Mr.
Yeah,
FC.
Steph,
What?
I
I
you
can't
reading
think. What
those
the?
Do you get what I'm saying? So mine was the bookie. I had the bookie seriously involved in my relationship with my partner when I met him. So I met my husband, my future husband, and I had the bookie tagging alongside beside him. So when I become animated as a life coach, and I talk about the bookie, yeah, it becomes very real. And Katie, I think you hit on a very good point. But if you've got that lived experience, it is there, isn't it? Because it's relatable to what we've all been through. We've all been victims of addiction. So at times that comes through. But yeah, it's as an affected other, we have our own triggers. You know, there's times where it touches you, there's times where it doesn't, but like you say, it mustn't overtake, I guess, your session. You know, it has to be contained. But yeah, so we often name the addiction. That's quite good fun.
So Becca, I just wanted to take a little break. Would you be able to hold the question or the? Yeah. So let's take a 5-minute break. We've run over. All right.
Nice.
Katie won 6 minutes.
7.
7 minutes. All right.
8.
Oh, fuck off. Right. 7 minutes. See you back at 12 minutes past. Okay.
Da-da-da. Charlie.
Yeah, mate.
Hello. Are you still up for that that thing
Yeah.
is it next when is it? Hold on, I've put my
The
diary.
5th of
Two
March.
seconds. 5th of
Is
March,
that
I've
the
put my
5th?
diary. Right.
Yeah. I
Down.
thought that we confirmed. Emma, did we confirm last week?
I did text you, I put my calendar but I just didn't know whether
Excellent, excellent. Definitely the 5th of March. What time are you coming down for? Are you going to come down?
I'll probably finish about before 4:30, so I'll probably leave more or less straight away. But you're in
Where's
hot
your office? Is it Newcastle?
no, I work from home, so I
Oh, you work from
just
home, brother. Right,
uh
excellent.
so I literally just like live in Whitley Bay.
Oh, Whitley Bay. I need to come see. I love Whitley Bay.
It's up to you to do whatever you want. Is there a place obviously that I'll come to for the
Yeah, I've
podcast?
got no. So if you can come to, if you come to Teesside, I've got a studio.
Oh, sound. I just send us the address and everything, and
Well,
I'll sort
I've
it on.
got we built this big garden house when a couple of years ago that wasn't being used, and I've turned into a studio. So, uh,
Sound.
yeah, there's me and my mate man Dan. I started the I started Unfiltered Lives about a year ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I was going about the country interviewing people in recovery, Derbyshire, Leicestershire, Coventry, all these sorts of places. And basically what it was just the interview. So I would interview my people, but I wasn't on them on camera, and I had them just like facing into the camera. And I think I did about 20 interviews. Um, and then I took a wee break from it about August time of last year for a couple of months. I just wanted to try on something else. And then I went down the road of the cost of living crisis,
Yeah.
where I went out in the streets in Hartlepool when I was asking folk about the cost of living that I'm in crisis. But with the cost of living in crisis, it was taking me down a really dark hole because the more that I was going doing this cost of living in crisis, the more that I was getting into stuff like my racism and prejudice and all the
Mm.
kind of boats and the Tommy Robinson thing and all that. And I wasn't prepared to go there.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I went there many, many years ago when being in Scotland, and I thought no. So about a month ago, I just stopped it all, and I said to my partner Dan, man, I said to my mate, I said, let's go back and we'll change this into a podcast again, a recovery podcast. No, I mean, I knew that the traction is going to be lost because we're just starting from fresh again. So,
Mhm.
so I changed. So we already had in the studio out there, and I just changed it into a proper podcast called
Mhm.
Unfiltered Lives the Other Side. We interviewed my mate Dan last week. I interviewed him, and then the person that was supposed to interview me yesterday been cancelled us. So when Dan said, "Why don't I step in?" So I even stepped in, and Dan
Oh,
interviewed
class.
me even last night, and that'll go live on Saturday night. And then we are next week. We're interviewing a couple of lads who started a charity in Hartlepool called Community Links.
Right.
Um, and then Friday we're also in a documentary making as well, where we're telling the stories of recovery as well. Where this charity has allowed us, in no holds barred, to go in and interview the people who started it and some of the clients.
Mhm.
We are doing that project on Friday, on Saturday, and it'll take me about a week to edit it. And then the week after will be, I think it'll be you. It'll be the 22nd, and maybe, and I think it's you that
Sound.
will come down.
I'll have to keep you
So,
in mind as well because I'm having a Zoom call tomorrow with some local lad. He's trying to do like a wellbeing event in
hmm
Sunderland, and
hmm
he's trying to get all organisations like locally. So I'm going to find out tomorrow what the crack is. But he's like he wants ice baths, saunas, you know what I mean, like the full the full
yeah,
shebang really. So and obviously
yeah,
get the
definitely keep us
gambling
in
out there and
mind.
all. That'd be aye,
Definitely,
definitely.
definitely keep us in mind. So yeah, I will look forward to interview.
Aye, and do you know this? My story changes every time because I think the
I
more you
know,
go into recovery, you realize more stuff about you. You realize why you probably done some of the things you did as well.
I
So,
know.
but
First interview we ever did, I just sat and cried all through it.
yeah, it is. It's quite emotional. Like every time I've done a podcast, I feel absolutely knackered after it.
Drains
I
you,
know.
doesn't it? In the
Aye.
beginning, like you say. Sorry, Charlie and Craig, I was sitting here just
No,
No,
it's all
Steph,
beaming
good.
on you
I
both.
was just thinking about you there because we're looking for female guests.
It's lovely listening to you both, you know.
But I think, do you not think we need more of like um podcasts, not just about the person in recovery, but like the affected other. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I would
yes.
love to hear a podcast of an
I've
affected
got one.
other. Yeah,
I've got one. I
I will send us it
interviewed
in.
I interviewed a lad who was 3 years sober. I interviewed his wife last
Oh
year
wow. Oh, I send us
on
that definitely.
Unfiltered Lives the other side, and her name was Sam. Fantastic interview. I loved everything she had to say actually. But yeah,
Hmm.
Steph.
I've done loads. If you Google, me and my husband I've done lots. So there is quite a few bits out there. But it's interesting because every time like the media come on, they'll always say, "Oh, can we interview your husband? We're doing a piece about gambling addiction." And the times I hear him say, oh, he actually says now, no, I'll only do it if my wife's with me because she's just as important.
Yeah, that's lovely.
That's mental.
And it's like, you know, the amount of people that will say, you know, no, we just want to hear the gambler's story. You know, it's
I think
it's
the affected
interesting.
others. I think the affected others are the unsung heroes. If I'm honest, like I don't think I'll be sat in this chair if it wasn't for my partner. Like, don't get us wrong, I've done all the steps necessary to make sure I don't gamble again. But she's given me the foundations to be here. You know what I mean? So
Have you got a Steph, Craig?
have I got a what? Sorry.
Did you say your partner's name was Steph?
No, Danielle.
Oh,
Danielle.
well, how did you Thai cooking? Have you done any? You know, you're going to have to cook a Thai curry for us all one day. Your Thai
I
homemade
will.
curry
I will.
sounds amazing.
I made chocolate brownies with my two sons on what day is it? I made them on Tuesday actually. Oh, very nice.
Because I've got one of these rooms booked.
I had a couple of days off. Well, I had a few days off last week, Craig, and a couple of them I was just in the kitchen, glass of prosecco, my pinny on, Alexa
Nice.
playing music, and I thought of you actually because I thought, oh, I'm doing a Craig. I'm doing a Craig. I'm going to do some cooking.
Well, my mum works at my mum works in a charity shop, and
Alexa, stop.
she's just bought us a Terry's chocolate orange dessert cookbook.
Oh, really?
Hi. So say all things to make with a chocolate orange. I was like, oh, make everything. Absolutely love chocolate orange.
Oh, that sounds lovely. Yeah. We're doing some
Okay,
coaching on food, David. We're doing coaching on food.
okay. Alexa, play the Ramones.
I better mute myself.
No, you should still be able to hear us. Okay, great. All right. So, Colin, let's go to you, mate. And you can start. You can start by building the container, and then you can tell us what you're going to say.
Right. Anyone like to start checking?
There we go.
Well, no one.
Feeling warm.
Charlie,
Feeling
on
warm.
I'll start, seeing as I haven't even said hello yet.
Oh, there he is. Go on then.
I have actually been here listening quietly in the background. I just didn't want to disturb the flow of the conversation. Yeah, I really enjoyed that first half. It initially triggered me into something, but then that quickly turned into a massive realization about something about my childhood, which was something I've never even thought about before, but I'll save it for another time. But yeah, it was really interesting that. Well, I'm good. Again, apologies for being a bit late. I'm working at the detox ward in the hospital, and they're just kind of the way it's timed, it's back to back. So I'm trying to get back as quickly as I can for this. But yeah, checking in really good, and nice to meet the new people I haven't met before. And I'll go to Becca.
So check-in. I just feel really happy. Yeah, it's just the last hour has been really great to kind of listen and bounce off each other and get to know you quite a much deeper level as well very quickly. So I really appreciate the openness in the group. It's very refreshing to be around people who are very willing to talk and kind of acknowledge what's been going on for them and to be able to support each other in this container. So yeah, feeling very happy. Thank you. And I will pass on to Katie.
Thank you. Yeah, that first half was, as I said, I had some massive realizations in there. So that was wasn't triggering, it was just enlightening. Other than that, I feel quite mentally fucked, to be honest. I've had a very heavy week of doing all sorts of things I don't normally do. So it's really nice to be here with you guys, where I can say that, and it's okay. And I will pass it on to Craig.
I'm feeling warm. I don't mean like hot. I just mean like the vibe that I'm getting. It just makes us feel comfortable. So I'm gonna pass on to Tom.
Yeah, I'm feeling really good. I found that first half quite interesting because I think often when I'm sat in like a one-on-one with someone, I'm just focused on the needs of that person, and it's easy just to forget about the other people that are affected by their recovery journey. And it's quite interesting that when sometimes people bring in like a loved one with them, and their loved one, they want to support the person going through it, but they don't know how to. And they also don't know how to share how they're feeling, whether it's okay for them to feel how they're feeling about the situation. So I think it's definitely something I'm going to consider a lot more when I'm working with people. So yeah. And I'm going to tag Kenny.
Thanks, Tom. I'm checking in with. I feel I'm mixed with Barry because I think like it's like a bit like recovery sometimes, up and down. The day I've been on a high, and this is kind of like put me down. Being on here today, you know what I mean? I'm thinking like I can't wait till 4 o'clock if I'm honest. No, I mean I don't need disrespect to anybody that's on you. It's just the stuff that's getting said because it saddens me because I'm having seen my family tore apart in my addiction. Do you know what I mean? But not being there, being in a different country, a different part of the country because I've done geographicals. I seen my mum sad for years and years waiting on the police chat at my door, thinking that it was going to be a death. So yeah, I'm a bit, it's brought me down today if I'm honest to listen to this stuff because I was on a high this morning, we've been doing really well at my course and coming on here, it's just flipped it. I'll pass it on to Gary, my friend from Dublin.
Thanks, Kenny. Yeah, I'm checking in. What would be the word? Extremely interested. I love anything that makes me think outside the box and out of my comfort zone compared to what I do day in, day out. So yeah, so I find it really interesting. And I'll pass on to, has everyone gone? No? Paolo's still here?
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, this is actually really, really appreciating the time in this container and what's coming up, and yeah, it's yeah, I can I can kind of have a look at all the various roles and all the various influences and impacts and effects and all of these things that I may have been on the receiving end of through direct parenting or through generational parenting or having an awareness of it, I think for me is the most important thing. In the sense of it's purely awareness. Once I have that awareness, it's my responsibility to take that awareness and use it to essentially reparent myself and move forward in the best way that I know how, and with new skills that I learn, and with the gifts that I receive from the tribe that I end up finding. And yeah, that I no longer need to have my old tribe and my old impacts in my life as my frame of reference any longer. They are there, but I do have an option and an opportunity to change those frames of reference. So yeah, I get the chance to kind of reframe my life. And yeah, that's what I'm really looking forward to. And how do I get that right? I get that right here in these containers with you folks. And again, that's why I'm so thankful to be here.
Thanks, Paolo. Colin, back to you, mate.
Yeah, I've got quite a bit from this at the moment. Just to,
Did everyone check in, Colin?
No, I haven't yet.
Okay.
Shall I check in, Manchester?
Oh, there you are. In the I'm trying to work out where you've gone. The tiles move all over the screen. Go on, Steph, check in.
I feel a little bit disappointed and ashamed. I feel, listening to you, Kenny, I feel a bit ashamed that I've come here today and I've caused a few triggers and brought a conversation that has caused shame and triggers in some of you. So I'm going to be honest, I do feel a bit guilty and shameful.
So, Steph, thank you so much for your honesty there. And I really just want to kind of go to the resilience and the robustness of this container. Kenny is more than capable of looking after himself. And the fact that he's able to sit here and say, fuck, I was on a high and now I'm depressed or low, and the container can hold that is just robustness of the container. Yeah, so that's a great thing. And if Kenny thinks that like working in this field is all going to be peace, love, and brown rice, working in a culture of addiction, he's got another thing coming, and he knows that. Yep. And just to soothe you, Steph. Kenny, if you want to drop out at any time and go and take some time out and do whatever it is, you're more than welcome to. But the point of this container is our stuff gets triggered, and it's in this place that we process it, because that's what makes us safe and professional.
Yeah. Thanks, Dave. That was just my honesty, but thanks, Dave, and thanks, David.
That's okay.
Okay, Colin, back to you. You handle the mess here, mate. You got to clean up this dog's breakfast now.
So has everyone checked in yet then?
I'll check in last call. I think I'm the only one. I'm checking in. Yeah, I think it's been interesting. Some really sensitive stuff. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I got quite a bit from it. Listening to different experiences, and it never triggered me, but it brought back a couple of memories back to me. One was my mum wasn't an addict, but well, just couldn't put one in, not have another one like. But she used to go out twice a week, and sometimes one of them nights will be end up in a nightclub. But on a Monday, I'm going back when I was about 13. I'd come home. My mum had gone out on a Monday, forgot to leave the key down the street with one of her friends, and I've gone along with the house key. And mum's down the pub, so I had to walk down to the town centre, which was like, being a kid, it was like half an hour, maybe more, walk there and then walk back. And that just, I don't know how I felt about that, really. So obviously, time I came back, I had to do my sister's teeth, my two younger sisters' teeth. And but in that way, I think my mum could have been there for us a little bit more. And the other experience I really had was my uncle. I would say he was alcoholic. When one of them nights when I was babysitting, he'd come round. He had, I don't know if he had a diagnosis with any mental health problems, but he came round and drinking and with a few cans with him, and he took an overdose in front of me. So I had to go on the phone the ambulance, and he wouldn't go with the ambulance. And anyway, he did eventually go. But it's just one experience to go through. It's traumatic in itself, I think. But through my own experience, when I was in addiction, I got kicked out when I was 16 after I thieved off my mum. And my oldest out, my two younger sisters, when I came back on the scene in 2004, she still had that trust issue with me, and that's part of me, like thieving, but I didn't do it no more. It took a long time for her to come to realise that, and I lost my mum in 2011, and after that, I used to babysit for my sister, my nephew, and twice herself, she came in from a night out and she hid a purse, and straight away I got the blame for it. But she found her purse a bit later on. She couldn't apologise enough, but it just made me feel like I couldn't get through enough that I wasn't that person no more. And
Colin,
yeah,
how much? So what you're talking about is another perfect example of how our past can haunt us in our present with our professional role as well.
yeah,
Yeah, and when we listen to people's stories, how that can be triggered. Yeah, and so I see Craig. I don't know if you can see the hands. Are you on your phone, Colin?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Craig's hands up. So let's hear from Craig, Colin.
right, well, Craig.
It's more of a question for the container, really, and I do think it's relevant. But as an affected other, do you feel like you fall in love with a different version of the person in recovery? And I say that because when my mum was an alcoholic, I only associated her with the alcoholism. When she recovered, I associated her with a totally different person. From my experience, because the gambling's so hidden, I was this one person throughout. Now I'm in recovery, I'm doing a lot more. I'm running more. I'm doing a lot of things for my mental health. And it's made us really wonder whether this whole conversation today has like opened up my mind a bit, and I'm thinking, am I just a totally different person? Have the people around us fell in love with a different version? So that's just a question that I felt was necessary from the conversations we've been having.
Colin, how you want to handle that?
Thank you, Craig. Are you want to answer that question, Esther?
Who said me? Yeah, I mean, I when I fell in love, and I fell madly in love with my husband, I fell in love with the person that I knew he really was. In answer to your answer, my experience, Craig, I fell in love with a wonderful man, but he had a demon, and I had a challenge. I had a third party in the relationship, which was Betfair. And that brought the very worst out in him, and now I have the very best. But I can't speak for your wife, but from my experiences, is I could see the person that I loved, and I think as an affected other, that's why you perhaps hang on. and I'm sure she'd reiterate that. That's why she's still there. So yeah, that's my experience. And also the other thing I wanted to quickly say, isn't it interesting? I loved it, Colin, when you sort of said you could see the passion, the realism in me when I was talking about a loved one going off into therapy. And isn't it interesting? Because I'd like you all to know that my husband never once went into therapy. We did it completely isolated on our own. He went through his withdrawal, his recovery completely with me on my own. But as a coach, what's helped me is really listening to my clients and really feeling what they feel. And for me, that's the best that I can give my client, is putting myself in their shoes. Yes, I'm an affected other, and I could sit here all day and tell you some horrendous stories that I lived through. As we all can, we could all sit here all day, couldn't we? We've all been victims of addiction. But with my clients, I get where they're coming from, and that's where I believe we all have this amazing edge as coaches, because we get it. We get it somewhere along there. We get it all, don't we? And so yeah, I hope that answers your question. And
Steph,
yeah.
can I just quickly jump in? You said before about the empowerment side of it, like when he was in the addiction, that you sort of said like he's under my control, this, that, and that. Like, is there a way that you deal with that now? Like, do you still suffer from that at times, or?
I was in a situation where I had no control. Betfair controlled everything. It can get, controlled my emotions, his emotions. I had no control. I couldn't see a way out. So in my situation, I was very, very isolated. And I had the added fear that my husband was well known, so it couldn't get into the press. He manipulated that with me. We can't tell anyone about this little problem, because if it gets out, everything will be trashed. So the pressure was even huge. And so for me, I was in a completely out of control situation, and I should say most loved ones feel like that. But there is that sense of empowerment. Oh, he's here with me, he's gambling, I know where he is. So part of me, I guess, yeah, had that reassurance he was always with me. And I think that empowerment can be abused by some affected others, and as coaches, it's for us to identify that or feel that along the way. It's complex, and that's shifting parent-child relationships. It's for us to be mindful of that. I'm always mindful of those dynamics. Does that help, Craig?
No, definitely, yeah.
Right, thanks, Steph. Is it all right if we put Becca that, please?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, when Steph says there's like different relationships, different dynamics, I'm coming from a very different experience. And actually, when you are kind of asking that question, and it's kind of directed towards us, obviously, as affected others, it did make my heart kind of beat a little bit faster. And I guess I'm more kind of new into my I want to say kind of the recovery or understanding of everything. The relationship ended about three to 4 years ago, and it was actually my partner who, at the time, he was going quite through severe addiction through crypto. And at that time, he cheated on me. I had COVID at the time, and he just came through the door and was like, I'm leaving. I have to leave. I can't do this anymore. And just almost wanted to create a new life. So it's interesting to kind of think about that question of like, is he that different person now? And I think yes, but unfortunately, he's still gambling a little bit, and he thinks he's in control. And I find that even things that he says to me, and we're still a bit in contact, there's still little bits of that personality of when I was upset, that's still there. And I always also see little snippets of when I first met him, that little bit of kindness, that softness to him. So I think I can see a transition in him where he's almost trying to be a different person, but I think the danger of it is that he's almost trying to ignore his past. He's ignoring the hurt. He's ignoring the kind of impact that he had on many different people, including myself. I think although I see that different person, I also see actually an uneasiness about seeing him become that person. And maybe again because I'm still feeling that hurt, I'm still feeling that abandonment, that rejection, that it's almost, maybe it for me, it's almost hard for me to accept that he's wanting to become a different person. So yeah, that was actually a little bit triggering for me, but I think in a really way as well, that question.
So Becca, thank you very much for that. And I just really want to honor particularly the people from Epic, just bringing so much of your story and authentic self to the container today. I think that's very courageous and very helpful for me personally, and the challenges that we're going to be facing out there. So Beck, I just really wanted to thank you for bringing that. Kenny, you got your hand up.
Yeah, do you know when you put your hand up and you think, what did you do that for? It's like, no, but I want to put just like, so relations with, especially with myself, like, I found it really hard to, being away from the family home for like, what, nearly 20 years, and being gone back up, and it was still like, there was still like a lot of trust issues, do you know what I mean, with the family. So at the beginning, it was like very hard to try and, like, this is the new me. This is like I'm clean. I've been clean for 6 months. Do you know what I mean? And even though I've been talking to them on the phone, I used to do that from my experience from prison, and I tell them that things were going to be different when I got out. They'd heard that for years and years and years. So I'm so grateful that I have a program that I've been able to be consistent. And I'm talking about a program, the recovery that I do, that I've been able to be consistent and do things that I would never have done before. So like me, I live in Durham, and my sister's she's up in Scotland. So when my sister's not very well, instead of me like asking her for money when she's not very well, I'll jump in the car. And there's an experience when she was in hospital. So I've jumped in the car and gone up to visit her hospital bed. That was me proving that all those times that they worried about me and my addiction, they're ending up in jail or ended up dead, could have died. I was trying to build up that relationship, because they had a hard time with it, and I never took that on board to be, and I'm so grateful for the amends process that I never took all that stuff into consideration when I was gallivanting about all the country, and thinking about they'll be all, I never even thought about them. I never thought about them. I never thought what worries they were going through, what stresses they were going through. So so for me to go back there and try and like think that nothing had really happened, but I'd been away for the best part of 20 years, was hard, and no, was it hard? It was hard because I put expectations on my relations and what I can do, and I was part of a people pleaser at the beginning, and stuff with my dad has took a long time because me and my dad hated each other. I don't like to use that word, but dislike now. Do you know what I mean? It was a difficult situation.
Thanks, Kenny.
Yeah.
So we're here to learn about recovery coaching. We're here to learn about recovery coach can help us in our professional roles, where we're going off in environments that are going to trigger all our own personal stuff, our personal stories. And yeah, if we could all just take a big breath around that. Yeah. So, Colin 120724, how are you doing, mate?
Oh, fine. I just end on that that story I was saying. That sister who had that trust issue, since she's seen me get clean, and we have the best relationship ever.
Great. So it's a process, huh? And it's often about holding the person in the process. Kenny, did you put your hand up and then pull it down again?
Yeah, I was just going to share on the work in a professional setting. I've worked took groups with a mother and daughter who both at separate times have the daughter has looked after the mother. Then the mother has got on recovery, and the daughter was in addiction as well, but the daughter looked after her mother as well as looked after herself and her siblings. Then her daughter got into recovery, so both of them were in recovery and in my same group. Then one of the mother went back out there and died. She went back out there and picked another drink up and died. So I was like I didn't have any experience of this, so I just went from my experience of hearing what I hear in the rooms and what I hear from colleagues and what I hear from experience of talking to people, sponsors and people that I've known over the years to support this girl to get through the death of her mum. Do you know what I mean? Because she blamed herself a lot as well for her mum going back out there as well. So it was really it was a lot of growth for myself and a lot of knowledge I took from that myself to take into future if this ever happened again. So that was really tough time because that was really early on in my working career and my recovery. To see that happen unfold in front of me, the two of them drinking badly and the two of them getting well and being in the rehab together, then one of them dying. And it was and thankfully that girl who her mum passed away has remained sober to this day.
Cool. All right, so Craig, I see you got your hand up. Just before you jump in, I want Katie in a minute to just talk about RAW and what RAW as an organization is trying to do. I want Gary to represent Sankalpa as an organization. I'd like Tom to represent Recovery Connections, and Craig, once you've said what you said, just to talk about what Epic does, and then we'll start to wrap today up. And my thinking around this is just to remind us this is about the organizations that we work in and developing ourselves as professional. Oh, and Charlie, if you could represent your organization as well. I saw you sitting up at the top of the screen yawning there. Fucking slacker. Okay, go for it, Craig.
I think this question is relevant to me, to the role in the organization, but
okay,
I don't know if my opinion's wrong or right, but I'm going to say it anyway. But is there a difference between a trigger and a memory? And when I say that, like, because if someone's talking to me about their experience, it could flash up a memory for us, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to mean that it triggered us. So I don't know if I'm right in saying that, but like, I think that's what I meant before. I didn't mean triggered. I think it unlocked a memory.
So let me come in here. We got the brain here, we got the prefrontal cortex, we got the amygdala. We get triggered Yeah. Our prefrontal cortex goes offline and our amygdala comes on. And our amygdala accesses the hippocampus where memory is stored. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, where we've processed memory and we're no longer triggered, we might get activated. So
Right.
so when we've got resilience, it's like, oh, my childhood wound has been activated by story. Yeah,
Mhm.
it activated the abandoned boy in me, but I'm not triggered. I'm still able to the death of my father. Yep, three
Yeah.
years ago. It's like that grief gets activated, but I'm not kind of hijacked from it. I haven't been amygdala hijacked.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
get that. I mean, if this makes sense, I walk past a betting shop that I used to bet at a lot, and it brings back a
great.
memory. It doesn't make us want to go in and put a bet on.
Perfect example. Wonderful.
Right.
Thanks.
So right, to finish off, so Epic Restart, our foundation who rebuild your lives after gambling harm. They have a lot of programs now. They have Restarting Lives program, which is part of the program that I'm on. I'm a lived experience recovery coach and facilitator. And you get to go on certain events during the year, which builds resilience, habits. We have the community, so we have a community app, we have a community website. You can access podcasts, financial tools, well-being. We have a women empowered section. Um, so that's just for women only. I think there is talk about doing a men's one, but that's not in fruition yet. And then we have the family affected others, which has just started up. We have a reach program for organisations to learn about gambling harms, and we have like ethnic minorities and stuff like that. So that's another program that we have. But it's a really strong, powerful team. I'm really privileged and grateful to be part of, because I really do believe that gambling addiction is going to be the next big thing that comes about. So thank you.
Thanks, Craig. Becca, Steph, did he represent all right? I don't want any input, just yes or no.
Perfect.
Okay, that was input. All right, Katie.
Yeah, hello. I work for RAW, which stands for Reach Out and Recover. We're still quite new. We're almost exclusively run by volunteers with lived experience, whether that be as a substance user or someone, family affected by. We started off mainly just with social engagement, social activities, showing people there is a life beyond addiction. But now we are evolving a lot more, offering recovery coaching, online meetings, cookery classes, pottery classes, social events, wellbeing days, a plethora of things. Yeah, I completely lost my train of thought then. But anyway, I'm the coordinator. It's great.
Teach you to use fancy words like
Plethora. I know it was too much, wasn't it? But yeah, it's great. And do you know what? Actually, I just want to say this because the woman I worked with today, and this is how important these lived experience organisations are. She had been to numerous places for help. She'd been to mental health services and they said they couldn't help her, and she'd been here and she'd been there and no one was helping her. And she reached out to us, and within a day of her reaching out, I had a conversation with her, an hour conversation with her. Today I started coaching with her, and her gratitude, because and that's what it means to me. That's what we can give. We are that friendly face. And what she said was, you have made me feel safe. I feel safe and I can speak. And she was getting that from Nowhere's Official. So to me, that's the beauty of what we do.
Wonderful, Katie. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sankalpa.
Thanks, Katie. Yeah, so here in St. Caleb in Dublin, what we have is we have three kind of stages, I suppose. So we've an access group, which is they come in for an hour on Tuesday and Thursday, and if they're showing up consistently, they'll go into the turning point, which is a stabilization program, and then we also have a drug-free program. So the difference in what we're doing is that I don't know about over there where you are from, but a lot of times people come in to stabilization programs and they're just kind of ticking boxes. I'm in a day program, So now you have to have a plan to progress. When you come into from Access, you have to have a plan where I'm detoxing with the goal of going to treatment. Otherwise, it's not much helping. They usually go to treatment wherever it may be, and then they'll come back to the drug free if that's what they choose to do. Like that, we've recovery coaches, we've key workers, we employ them in counselors. We also made a few changes last year where we link in with the local gyms. So we bring them to the gyms a couple of times a week. We've linked in with another boxing club. We'll bring them there for some box exercise. And some of them like it and some of them might not. But it's about kind of helping them figure out what they like and always helping them become the best version of themselves. We also have on a Tuesday night and a Thursday night cocaine and alcohol group. It's called. I don't always have them over there because we find not overall, but a lot of the time, some of them don't come from traumatic backgrounds and all of that type of stuff. It's more about the relationship with their substance than anything else. So the cocaine and alcohol groups on a Tuesday and Thursday kind of deals with that. I think it's kind of based off the resonance factor. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. So yeah, it's more about the relationship with the substance. Yeah, we do good
Thanks,
work.
Gary. Cool. Tom.
So Recovery Connections, we're LERO throughout the northeast of England. It's we use a peer-led support, and everything's quite person-centered. There's a big emphasis on communities and building communities. So we go out and about. We do outreach. We have community coaches. We do lots of work around harm reduction and then link in with other people in the local community, such as councils and stuff like that. We do a lot of things around rehab. There's stuff going on. Sorry, I've lost my train of thought here. Oh, my brain's gone.
You're doing great.
In Middlesbrough, particularly, that's a recovery city, and it's quite a unique and new thing, which is quite exciting. And the values of our organisation, it's about breaking stigma and empowering other people in their recovery. And we have something really nice called the Ambassadors Programme. So it's where people that have been going through the recovery, they get their opportunity to do a 12-week course, and at the end of it, they can become an ambassador for Recovery Connections. And that's how a lot of the people that end up working for the organisation start off through. So yeah, I hope I've done all right for Recovery Connections there.
Thanks, Tom. Charlie.
Charlie. Am I last? I'm tired. I'm absolutely tired. Is it
All
hot
right.
in here or is it just me? Anyway, we do recover is a person-centered recovery plan I've lost my train of thought here. We are going to be focusing on recovery coaching, holistic wellness, and storytelling, where we are going to hopefully to be working in the field of addiction, where if someone is wanting to recover, we can show them a different way of life through holistic wellness and storytelling. And my mind's gone blank. I'm absolutely sorry.
So, Charlie, for the next 10 weeks, we're going to focus on developing your vision, whereas everyone else comes from established organizations. So we'll walk with you on that journey as well. Is that all right?
Yes, it is. I can tell you what makes us unique. If you want me to read that out.
Next week. Let's start the checkout. I'm just getting conscious of time. So Would you like to start the checkout, Charlie? One thing you're taking away.
It was really it was good to be triggered, but learning how to experience that triggered in a way that it's not all about me. It's it's about the other person in as well. And my head's gone blank. I'm
Right.
done.
Who are you tagging, Charlie?
I'm tagging Katie because she's as tired as me.
I was already unmuting because I knew you was doing that. What I really liked today was that the difference between activated and triggered. And yeah, I really recognised that and I really liked that. And I'm checking out, I'm feeling a little bit giggly because I seem to start the process of losing the train of thought and then it happened everywhere. And I think it's just we're tired. So I'm a little bit giggly, which means it's kind of been a good afternoon. So, and I will tag Steph.
What am I taking away from today? I've met some really lovely people. I think you all really are such a lovely group of people. And it's really been lovely listening to you for the last, well, you've probably listened to me waffle on more, but that's what I'm going to take away. Really lovely bunch of people.
Steph, are you on the platform? Is everyone on the platform? If you're not on the platform, just put your email address in the chat. Who are you tagging, Steph?
Becca.
My takeaway is that there were just a number of questions that were asked that have prompted me to kind of think a bit more outside the box and try to understand my own experience a little bit more, especially that kind of affected other question that Craig asked, and there's a few others, or actually both of them were Craig's, that with the memory trigger as well, that really kind of hit me. And I like that when I'm coming away from something like this where I can continue learning on my own and with kind of a bit more reflection as well. So I really appreciate that. But I'm feeling knackered. I feel quite emotionally kind of just a bit tired now. It's coming to Thursday, and kind of this is quite an intense experience. Obviously, one that I'll kind of get used to each week, but it's just been really powerful. So yeah, I've really enjoyed it. And I will tag Colin H.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm similar. I'm quite emotionally tired now. There's a lot of sensitive stuff shared, and I love the open mindedness of where it went, and I was trying to just myself listen and be open minded. I also didn't know that the activated and then a trigger. So yeah, I'll take that from it as well. I'll tag Kenny.
That's twice, Colin. I'm getting to think you've got it in for me, pal.
I have.
Yeah. What have I took from the day? So I think that the memory and the trigger, it was more a memory for me. There wasn't a trigger, so sort of like memories came up and put a kind of like a damper on the feeling I had before I came into this arena of the day. But at the end of the session today, I'm cool. I'm still I'm good, still in a good place. But things that I have, memories that came up, made us a little bit sad. But that's my stuff. And I've really enjoyed it today. I've enjoyed how our call handled managed the opening back up the second half as well. That was good to see. It was good to see the people that I haven't met before as well. And it was really like there was some stuff that was said today that has empowered me as well. And made the session worthwhile sitting the 2 hours. Thanks. I'm going to I'll bring Craig in. You been in, Craig? No.
No, not yet. Yep. But I guess that's what coaching's coaching's about, innit? It's about learning stuff about yourself, and that's what like we're here to do, to empower the individuals to make their own choice through their own autonomy and stuff. And I think for me, I learned within 2 hours that I wasn't actually triggered, that it was the memory. And I'm really glad that I asked that question, because I feel like a lot of people related to it and a lot of people took something from it, because I think triggered such a big word and it can be used in so many wrong circumstances. And I think I personally used it wrong. And I used it in the sense that I thought, oh fuck, I need to like go out for a run, or I need to talk to someone about it, where it was just a memory. It was just a memory of my childhood. And I was maybe thinking a bit too much into it. So I'm really glad that I learned that and I was able to ask that question. And I think I'm going to go with the other Colin, because I think he's the last one. I think.
There's Tim, there's Paolo, there's Colin.
Oh, Paolo, sorry, I didn't see him there. I go on then. I'll go with Colin. I'll stay with Colin.
Thank you, Craig. Yeah, I took a lot away from it today. Like I said, different experiences and meeting new people. Welcome to the coaching. Yeah, and Steph, don't ever be shamed about bringing someone into the container. That's, like I said, most of us have got knowledge enough to hopefully overcome any triggering things. Yeah, I've enjoyed it today. And I've enjoyed every week up to now. Actually, I've done it here. I'll leave it there. I will go to Tim.
Cheers, Carl. Stayed a bit quiet today because I've just literally moved out the family home 4 weeks ago, so I'm still processing it, but it's all good. But my take home is how another person's story can always give you realizations in your own, and you always learn off someone in this industry. So I'm just appreciative for that. So yeah, good. I'll tag Paolo.
Thanks so much, Gary. Yeah, I've a number of things as a takeaway tonight. And I think I might be in a similar boat to Charlie, where joined. David asked me, am I here as a LERO? I had to scratch my head. And as I joined tonight, I've just thrown it out there. We'll see if it works. And we'll see how precision coaching development develops over the course of over the
Later,
time.
Gary. Thank you, Paolo.
Sure.
Cool. All right, is that everyone? Okay. All right, and everyone all right with the recording? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Lots of love. See you all next week.
See you next week, everyone.
Thank
Have
you,
a good one.
everyone.
Steph, I've sent you
See
the
you next
email to the
week.
platform. Where's Steph gone? I've sent you the email to the platform. Just check your email. And yeah. Becca
Do I
and
need to
Craig
do
and-
anything with the platform, or is it just a community board?
Just join it and you'll see all the content material is there. There are some journeys there. Craig, Becca, are you on the platform already?
Yeah, sorry, I thought I was sharing I thought I was sharing my email addresses for connections.
I was just a sheep as well. I just followed the crowd. But I am on the platform. Thank you.
Somehow.
Okay, great. So you've got access to the content.
Yes,
I've already done them.
I'm sorry, I wasn't sent the Zoom link, so someone sent me the Zoom link. So I don't know where there's in the communication, or I haven't ticked something that then prompted the link.
Okay, well, great for being
I'm here.
Good, wonderful. Well, I'll just show you very quickly on the platform if you get lost. Let's see if we can find it. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Move that here. You should under Mauni timetable, and then if you go to click over here and then go schedule, it tells you what's happening each day. So if you lost the link, you could just click there, and then there's the link there to join.
Great.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool.
David, before I go, do you know this I can't even get the word out. This I can't say it. The wellbeing training. Is it on only a Thursday?
Yes, this
Right.
particular one is you're doing systemic wellness practitioner training, which
Right,
is
okay.
focusing on working within organizations.
Right, that's
Yeah.
all.
A
That's
lot
right.
of it kind of repeats itself to the to the other stuff, but and you can see by working in this space and being with other organizations how the challenges and learnings from different organizations is beneficial. I really think the community found this family stuff very helpful today. So Steph and Becca, thank you both for bringing that as well. I was really moved with Charlie's story, huh?
Yeah. And and to share it, and with yourself, David, as well. It's not easy, is it, sharing difficult,
It's
painful
about
memories?
bringing our authentic story in a
Yeah,
professional way.
that's right. Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity. Becca, shall we have a coffee before we go on to our next meeting?
Sounds perfect. We'd planned a meeting dead on 4 o'clock, but I feel like we need a bit of 5 minutes. Yeah, let's
Go
do
enjoy
that.
yourself. See you all next week.
Thank you so much,
so much,
everyone.
David.
Thank you,
Bye.
David.